What does the third base trade slash free agent market look like, and how could this affect the Mariners' strategy going forward? I'm going to cover that big question here today, covering all the players in the top tier, the middle tier, and then the value picks, the trade options, those types of guys. That's what I'm going to cover on today's episode. Hi, everyone. Mariners Daily here. Sam Edwards, the host. The show for the thinking Mariners fan, the Mariners nerd fan. Yeah, that's me. I'm a nerd about the stats. I'm living on Fangraphs. I'm living on Baseball Savant, all that good stuff. And yeah, just trying to analyze this team and make it as good as it possibly can be. Before we get into it, we had a big trade go down. The Red Sox and Cardinals make an interesting trade. Sonny Gray and $20 million going to the Red Sox for prospect starting pitchers Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark. Clark is the young kid, has only played up till high A so far. This is basically the Cardinals saving about $15 million on Sonny Gray while also getting a couple young pitchers. Fitz just hit the majors this past season. He pitched 45 innings in the majors this past year with the Red Sox, a 20.5 K percentage, 8.2 walk percentage. Not great marks right there. He gave up a lot of home runs, 2.2 home runs per nine, a 5 even ERA on the season, 5.8 FIP on the year in the majors. Started the season in AAA, only pitched 27 innings there. Slightly better, 21.6 K percentage. Small sample size, super small. 4 ERA, 4.05 FIP in only 27 innings, once again, AAA. So Fitz looked interesting. I am totally okay with this for the Boston Red Sox. They definitely add a guy in Sonny Gray who is old. Let it not let's not take anything away from it. Sonny Gray has gotten older. He's 36 right now. They're about to be 36 going into this year. 180 innings pitched this past year, a 26.7 K percentage, still very good, still good control as well, a 5 even walk percentage. The home runs have been a problem, 1.25 home runs per nine, slightly high 3.29 BABIP, all speaking to a FIP that is much lower than the ERA. It was a 4.28 ERA this past year for Sonny Gray versus a 3.39 FIP. I think he's made for Boston. Craig Breslow and Andrew Bailey, the main pitching coach, seem to be targeting these guys that are not as good with the fastball, which Sonny Gray's fastball has definitely slowly gotten worse. I would highly recommend following Jay Hay on Twitter, the Nugget Chef himself. Highly recommend following him on Twitter. He's one of the best stat guys in the majors right now, in my opinion. Yeah, if you look at all of his recent tweets, he really breaks down Gray's slow decline with the four seam specifically. He is a very good sweeper, which is great, and he kind of needs to start using the sinker a little bit more. It's kind of exactly what the Red Sox have been targeting these days. So definitely makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox. They do need, I think, a number two starting pitcher still. I would say Gray is projected to be their number three starter. They've got Garrett Crochet at the top of the rotation right now, and then they should have another option. But right now, it's Sonny Gray as their number two, which isn't great, but it's not terrible, and it's better from what they were. The Cardinals are on a full rebuild, which means that Brendan Donovan will probably be getting traded soon enough. He did play second base full time this past year, but he has played third, not super well, but he has played third. We're gonna get to him. We'll get to him later in the show for sure, as we cover third base options for the Mariners here. Which, speaking of, let's just get into it, baby. Let's get into this top tier. The top tier is very small. And listen, this is another thing that I wanna say, and I said this in yesterday's episode. First off, recording this all in one time. That's why I got the same hoodie on. Okay, I'm recording this ahead of time because I'm going to be away for the holidays. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. Uh, the third base market is fairly thin. I would say. I think it's fairly thin for really good options, and the top two options I don't think the Mariners are going to get. But that's also why I think that Mariners fans needs to adjust their expectations for what third base is going to look like, because I swear, every time I throw out an option for third base, they go, "Oh, but he's not good at this," and "Oh, but we need to improve this." And I get it, I get it, I get it. But it's not. I'm sorry. It's just we're not gonna have the perfect scenario. It's just the way it is. Munetaka Murakami is probably going to get the biggest contract for any third baseman this offseason, as him being the youngest guy about to turn 26 years old. The past 2 seasons, he has looked fantastic in Japan. 610 plate appearances, 33 home runs in 2024. This is. He was injured last year, only played half a year. I want to look at 2024's stats first. I should have said that. My bad. Just to see how consistent he has been, and he has been in some respects. The power is very legit. 33 home runs in 2024. 10 stolen bases that year, a 17.2 walk percentage. That's the other thing that has been super consistent. He's walking like a madman. 29.5 K percentage. That is another consistent thing. Not very good plate discipline. A 228 isolated power in 2024. He hit 244 with a 379 on base and a 472 slugging percentage, 391 WOBA, and a 156 runs created plus. Decent hitter. I would expect that to come down to maybe a 120 runs created plus in the majors, as the pitching is much better over here. Maybe it could be a little bit better, maybe a 130 runs created plus. That would be great. And with his age, um, the hope is that he hasn't hit his peak yet, is my guess. So he's going to get a longer deal. He's going to get a big deal. I don't necessarily expect the Mariners to be playing in that realm, especially post Josh Naylor signing, a beautiful signing. That's another thing I'm thankful for. If I didn't mention that in my other in yesterday's episode, Thanksgiving episode. Who knows, man? I can still mention it now. Josh Naylor. I'm so thankful. So thankful we signed him. Oh my gosh. Uh this past season, Murakami, like I said, got injured, so only played 224 plate appearances, but still showed amazing bat skills. The power and the walks were still there this past season. 22 home runs in such limited a time is impressive. A 14.3 walk percentage, a 390 isolated power this past year. Incredible. He hit 273 with a 379 on base and a 663 slugging percentage, a 211 runs created plus for Murakami. Like I said, the power is still legit, but the Ks are still there. He had a 28.6 K percentage, which is not great and makes me a little worried about teams signing him in the majors. I don't necessarily want him. I would honestly rather go with a middle tier pick or a value pick personally, because I just don't. I'd be worried about spending all our money on Murakami and taking that big roll of the dice. I would rather the other guy who's in our top tier, and you guessed it, it's freaking Alex Bregman. I've talked about him multiple times so far this offseason. Bregman is still a very quality player, and he provides the mix of a great bat and still very good defense, which is also a little suspect with Murakami. So that's one of the reasons why I would rather Bregman personally. Um, I I like Bregman. He's got great plate discipline as well. 495 plate appearances this past season, which is lower than what we're used to seeing from Bregman, as he is generally on the field very consistently. 18 home runs, which is nice, but he's definitely a proponent of pulling the ball in the air, which fits really well with Boston. I kind of expect him to re-sign with them. Personally, that's what I see happening, but we'll see what happens. He's still out there. The walk percentage did rebound from a weird year of 2024 for Bregman. It looked like his swing was slightly different, and he just did not have the plate discipline that we've come to know from this guy. 10.3 walk percentage this past year was a big rebound for him. Only struck out 14% of the time. 189 isolated power is nothing to scoff at either. He's still decent with the power. He hit 273 with a 360 on base and a 462 slugging percentage, 125 runs created plus, 3.5 F4 on the season, more than above average in fielding run value at third base, +3 there, which is 72nd percentile, +3 in outs above average, which is 83rd percentile. Not great arm strength right now, 82.3 miles per hour with the arm strength, 36th percentile. In that respect, not great, but still can pick it there at third base and still get the job done. So Bregman would be my favorite of the high end options. He can play defense. Murakami, the reports are that he is going to end up being a first baseman, which we just signed somebody long term. So I don't want to sign a DH long term personally. That's what it would turn into with Murakami, I would guess. And I just don't want that. I don't want to get too clogged up on this team, or else we're going to look to unload another contract, which I would rather not think about personally. Let's get into the middle tier here. We got a couple guys, and one guy that maybe is a little underappreciated by us Mariners fans. That's my opinion. Let's see if you agree. Middle tier, first off, before we even get to Gino, Eugenio Suarez, before we get to him, I do want to talk about Kazuma Okamoto, a guy that I talked about last week in my player profile, so I don't want to go over all his stats, but he's also been fairly consistent with some decent power coming over from Japan. Not as good a power as I already forgot his name. Can't believe it. Munetaka Murakami. Not as good a power as him, but sounds like he might be a little bit better defensively, which makes me a little bit more interested. He's also older, 29 years old, so I think he'll get less money, less years. So interesting. Maybe the bat won't transfer as well as Murakami's will, but it's still possible because he's still got some great stats coming over from Japan. 611 plate appearances in 2024, 27 homers that year, a 10.8 walk percentage, which has stayed consistent with him, 15.9 K percentage, much lower than Murakami's. Maybe that means the bat will transfer a little bit better. He hit 280 with a 362 on base in 2024 and a 501 slugging. 161 runs created plus is very decent. And then this past year, he was also injured and also had an amazing offensive season. They're very similar. My goodness. Freaking Akamoto and Murakami, very similar. 293 plate appearances this past season, 15 home runs, 11.3 walk percentage, 11.3 K percentage. He almost walked more than he K'd. I love that. Gosh, I love that. A 271 isolated power, 327 average, 416 on base, 598 slugging. Good for a 210 runs created. Plus, I don't care if you're in Japan, that is impressive. And word is the scouting reports say that Akamoto is better defensively at third and might actually be able to stick there. That would be huge. I think that's huge for the Mariners to be able to have a guy that can stick at third base. That would be great. And Akamoto is one of those few guys that I think him and Bregman are the two probably top options, in my opinion. I put him in the middle tier just because I think he's going to get a lot less money, and it just makes sense for him to be in that middle tier. With another guy that's in my title here, freaking Gino Suarez, Eugenio Suarez. I think he might be a little underrated. By myself included. If you go back to the beginning of this offseason, I was down on Suarez and I did not want to re-sign him. And I think I was just a little blind to what this third base market actually had in store for us. I'm going to drink some water real quick. Pardon me. Pardon me. Gino Suarez, why is he underrated? First off, this past season, past multiple seasons, dude has been consistent value. And yes, he strikes out a lot. I get it. I totally get it. But also, we traded for him for a reason. And I know when we got rid of Suarez, everybody was happy, but we did not have good third baseman in that time span. And we went and got him again. 657 plate appearances this past season for Suarez, 49 home runs, a 7 walk percentage, not very high, 29.8 K percentage, second highest amongst third basemen this past season that qualified. Second highest K percentage is not something that you want to know and something you want to be second in whatsoever. Second highest. That's tough. Isolated power, though, is a 298, which was first amongst third basemen in the majors this past season. 228 batting average, not very good. 298 on base, not very good. A 526 slugging percentage. You are getting this guy for one reason only. It's because the power is legit. 347 Woba, which is tied for sixth in the third base rankings from this past season. Come on, man. He's got it. He does have a bat. A 125 runs created plus, which is seventh amongst third basemen. That's not third basemen that are available. He is seventh for all around third baseman. He is seventh in runs created plus. Tied for fourth in WAR in F4 this past season with 3.8 F4, despite negative defensive numbers. Tied for fourth in WAR amongst third basemen. Come on. It's not third basemen that are available. He's tied for fourth with freaking Manny Machado. We're not trading for Manny Machado. Suarez is available. We could go get him, and we could afford him too. He's a little bit older. He might be one of our best options is bringing him back. The idea of bringing Suarez back is not good initially, but then you start to look at the numbers and you realize the situation we are in, that the alternative is Ben Williamson. The alternative is just a defensive guy who we're hoping can hit good enough to get by. That's what that is the alternative, okay? The alternative is some of the value picks, okay? But you're picking and choosing with those guys, and I'm going to get to them in a second. But with Suarez, you do have a proven bat, and there's very few guys like that available in our price range. Both those things are very specific. I don't think we're affording any of the other guys that I've mentioned so far. I don't think we're spending the money on that. Do I hope we do? Absolutely. It's not my money. I don't care. That'd be great. But I don't think we're going to. I don't even know if we're going to afford Suarez personally, but only a 3-year deal for, at least maybe right around 20 million or so, maybe a little bit more. I'll take it. Sorry, 3-year deal, 20 million per, 20 million AAV. That's what I mean, not total. Sorry, don't go crazy. I'm so sorry. Gotta specify these things more. The defense is really bad for Suarez this past season. -3 fielding run value total, which is 27th percentile. -6 outs above average. Only an 82.9 arm strength. Not good marks for sure. They're not, and he's not going to improve our defense for sure. And Ben Williamson is the defensive replacement. So it is what it is. I think maybe we didn't give him enough credit. I think he could be better than we're really expecting. Because the value picks are value picks for a reason. And I'm gonna tell you why, because you are choosing offense or defense with these value picks. As soon as you start going dumpster diving, it is not going to be perfect. It's not. I just covered Yoan Moncada a couple episodes ago. He's the first one on this low tier, on this value pick. He's offensive. He's offensive only. And he's going to be a lot cheaper than Suarez. He's just like a cheaper Suarez. Hits for a little bit of power, maybe a little bit better batting average. You're buying low on a guy that you feel like, could be high reward, but he's not good defensively. He's not. Alec Boehm is another guy that I've mentioned before. Has shown to be a good enough bat. He's just a higher average guy. Not much power to speak of. And the defense is nothing to speak of. Third base. And he's at least played third base. Same with Moncada. They played third base at the very least. Brendan Donovan has played third base, but not recently. Played all second base this past season. I would still be happy with Brendan Donovan personally. He's a high average guy. Same with Alec Boehm. Maybe a little bit better of a hitter. Can get the job done, but also not very good defensively. You're picking and choosing, man. Then if you look at the free agent market, it's a lot of defensive first guys. It's a lot of Paul DeYoung. You could go get, I don't know, man. Maybe you could trade for like a Brian Hayes or something, who is one of the best defensive third basemen out there. But why don't you just roll with Williamson in that scenario? You have Ben Williamson in-house. Might as well just roll with him. I talked about Yoan Moncada a couple days ago. I would like him. Like I said, Brendan Donovan would be nice. Role players. These are role players. These are not starters, in my opinion. You're not getting a starting third baseman unless it's Suarez or higher. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. Who should we go after? Who is realistic that we could go after? Mark Vientos is another guy that I looked at that I think the Mets could easily trade him. He's also not very good defensively at third base. Also was below average hitting wise this past season, but does have some power, does have a little bit of a ceiling that he has shown before as recent as 2024. Possible. I'd rather just spend money on Yoan Moncada and have him split time with Ben Williamson and hope Williamson works out. We're nickel and diming here. We're nickel and diming. Maybe Murakami's in the books. Who knows? Maybe he is. Maybe we're willing to spend a little bit on a younger guy. I don't know. Bregman, I don't think is in the books personally, but it's very possible. He's probably our best option out there for providing offense and defense. Akamoto could be one of our better options as well. Just all about how much does his bat transfer and how good is the defense necessarily? Can he stick it at third? Suarez is the guy we know. We know the strikeouts come with the homers. That's just the way he's always been, but he's been consistent. Consistent right in the 3 wins above replacement mark, and that is valuable. It is valuable. We could use a guy like that at third base. Let me know what you guys think. That's my quick little breakdown of this third base market. It's pretty thin. Pretty thin. We're not looking at some great players or anything, especially the situation that the Mariners are in. I don't think they're trading for any of the top guys because you've got young studs like Junior Caminero, and then you've got unmovable objects like freaking Jose Ramirez. Sorry, objects was a bad word there, but you know what I'm saying. Immovable players. Jose Ramirez, Manny Machado, studs. Studs at the position that are not getting moved and when they're not available. So we need to look at the guys that are available. And of other guys available, they're not that great of options. I want to hear what you guys think. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.